Alrighty, welcome everybody back to the channel. If you don't know who I am by now, my name is David. I also go by MillerFootball, and today is your weekly dose of fullback content here on Fullback Friday on the MillerFootball channel, the only place you're going to find it here on the internet. Very excited to dive into this. We're going to be talking about the big three of fullbacking, in my opinion, in the NFL today, being, of course, Kyle Juszczyk, Patrick Ricard, and Alec Ingold of the 49ers, Ravens, and Dolphins, respectively. Very excited to dive into this. We've got a film breakdown fresh out of the oven coming to you live. I guess not live, but I'm recording it the same day I'm uploading it, so it's close enough. We're going to have some light editing. But regardless, I'm very excited to dive into this. I hope you're all excited as well. So let's go ahead, without further ado, and take a look first off at some Kyle Juszczyk film. I figured it was only fitting to start off this Fullback Friday with the man himself, Mr. Kyle Juszczyk. You can see lined up in 21 personnel. And unfortunately, he didn't get a whole lot of playing time against the Chiefs this week because the Niners, everybody got hurt and they started to panic and didn't know what to do, and they blew the second half and looked terrible. And I can tell you right now, if Juszczyk would have been on the field, they probably would have been a little better off. But I digress. We're going to go ahead and check this out. So, pretty simple. Juszczyk's the lead blocker. That's right, folks. Ben VanSumeren, the linebacker for the Philadelphia Eagles, primarily a special teams player, is now their de facto fullback, or at least he was on Sunday against the Giants. Played a total of 5 snaps offensively, and we're going to take a look at all 5 of those snaps. Starting out with this one here, we've got him lined up, offset to the right, lead blocker for Saquon Barkley. And this isn't a huge run or anything, but I really like what I'm seeing out of VanSumeren in terms of his lateral quickness and his tenacity and intensity as a blocker here. So you're going to see he's going to fire off right away, immediately locate what he needs to take care of, that being linebacker Bobby Okereke. Get a little linebacker on linebacker violence here. You're going to see VanSumeren's going to do a good job of getting low. He gets that inside hand placement on the chest there on Okereke, and then he's going to do a good job of turning him out. Like I always say, back to the back, right? I know Saquon's already passed him at this point, but you're still doing a good job of walling yourself off to the running back. He continues to push him, does a good job of staying engaged. Just a really, really nice block there, allows Saquon to slip up the middle for a short gain. Now, you know, Dexter Lawrence does his thing on the opposite side of the play. There's a reason it's not a very long run. But VanSumeren here, man, a really, really good job, really aggressive, really tenacious. Just everything you want to see out of a guy who was asked to play fullback, I would assume on short notice, like within the past week, but, you know, who knows? I'm not super dialed in with Philly's practice and all that, so maybe Eagles fans will have to let me know down in the comments if this is something that's been building throughout the season, but this is the first time we've seen him do it on the field, and so far, so good. Second play here, we're going to get a much bigger run from Saquon, all set up by VanSumeren, who is once again offset to our left, but the right side of the play here, given the angle. So we're going to go ahead and let this go. And again, leading Saquon through the hole. He's got to go one-on-one here with Bobby Okereke. He's going to do a great job of doing that. He squares him up in the hole, gets low, lets Okereke dive into him, absorbs that contact, and look at that hole that's opened up. Saquon's going to be able to get nice on through there. Now, Saquon ends up having to take a different hole because of how this blocker ends up. But VanSumeren does a good job of keeping Okereke out of this play. You know, Okereke thought he was going to get low and level VanSumeren and knock him into Saquon and drop the play at the line. But VanSumeren did a good job setting his feet, setting his base, getting a wide, strong stance. Because of that, Saquon's able to take this one for like 30. And then you see, too, what I love about this play. Buddy's keeping up with it. You know, a lot of guys, they stay back in the backfield after they've made a block. I see a lot of guys like linemen, assuming they're not like an instrumental lead blocker. But VanSumeren's running with the play the whole way down the field. Great hustle, great effort. Trying to get down there just in case. You know, who knows? Maybe Saquon might need a block downfield. You might need it, or he might need your help. VanSumeren, he's feeling it. He's celebrating. I love the energy from this guy. I think he did a great job here. Just watching this back one more time. You see, again, great job getting lateral, or getting across the field laterally, locating his target, locking on, getting low, absorbing that contact, and then letting Saquon take off here. Just awesome. Awesome stuff from a guy who hasn't played fullback since high school. Or, no, I'm sorry, since his freshman year of college. Because, fun fact, he did commit to the University of Michigan, I believe. as a fullback and then was switched to linebacker, played linebacker at Michigan State. But either way, you're seeing that former fullback background show up. It's fantastic. All right, this one's a little bit later in the game. We're blocking for Kenny Gainwell this time around, and once again, we're offset to our left, the Eagles' right. Let's go ahead, let this one play out here. So we're getting VanSumeren one-on-one with an edge this time. The goal is for him to kick this guy out so Kenny Gainwell can come on through here, and he's going to do a great job of doing just that. Doesn't have to be anything too fancy on this block. Don't have to do anything too crazy. Just has to make sure Kenneth Gainwell can get around him. That's exactly what VanSumeren does. Does a great job of getting low, engages shoulder to shoulder, opens up that crease, and you're going to see Kenny Gainwell is going to be able to fire through it. He didn't even have to sustain the block that long, just long enough to give his running back that space. You see, at this point, sure, VanSumeren isn't engaged with the block anymore. The blocker's free. But with how quick and with how shifty and with how much space we have over here, it doesn't matter. We can go ahead and just take off to the left side here, explode through. You see Ojulari has to take a bad angle, isn't quick enough. He's on the ground, diving, can't quite make the tackle. So VanSumeren does his job in making sure his man didn't get to the running back, opened up a hole for Kenny Gainwell to explode through for, I think, 13 or 14 yards. Either way, really solid run, really good block. And again, VanSumeren, he's feeling himself. He loves it. I love to see a fullback that loves to block. It's just absolutely beautiful. I mean, honestly, listen, we're going to do the whole fullback linebacker thing. We see he's wearing number 57. Give this man a number in the 40s. Give this man a number in the 40s. Let him wear 47. I don't know if anyone in Philly's wearing 47. Give him 44, whatever. That's a linebacker and fullback number nowadays. Let him dual rock it like what the Chargers are doing with Scott Matlock, who's playing D tackle and fullback and wearing 44. All right, so this block here isn't quite as sexy as some of the other ones. We've got VanSumeren once again offset to the left, our right, or our left, their right. And this isn't one of those sexy blocks where, VanSumeren's going to create a hole, or the running back, in this case, Kenny Gainwell, is going to run through it. This is more going to be, just trying to utilize having 21 personnel on the field, or 22 personnel. Forgot there were 2 tight ends over here. But regardless, the point is you're utilizing having that fullback on the field, drawing guys into the box, using that to your advantage. So what's going to happen here is as this ball is snapped, you see VanSumeren, he's going to fire out to our left and then cut across to our right. What this does is this is going to bring Micah McFadden here down a little bit. Bringing him down is going to allow 74 here, who is going to climb to the second level, to ideally set a block on him, right? You're trying to pull him into a more advantageous situation as the blocker. That's what's going to happen. You're going to see 74 is able to climb, and he's able to collapse on McFadden. Now, McFadden does a good job slipping this block. He sees it coming, so he's going to get up underneath and end up getting through, and he's going to be one of the main guys in on the tackle. But now we've got VanSumeren pulling across the line, and he's got to take care of 51, once again, kick him out. And with that, you get a situation where your running back is now going to have 2 opportunities for where he wants to cut. Basically, he has to read Okereke, and whichever lane he seems to be crashing into more, he takes the opposite, right? There's going to be a lane here open between this tight end and VanSumeren, and there's going to be a lane here open between this tight end and the, the block that gets set by VanSumeren coming across the line. Instead, what's going to happen is Okereke's going to play this flawlessly. 74 gets slipped, 93 beats his man, and Kenny Gainwell gets met by like 4 giants here in the pile. But on the bright side, VanSumeren does a good job with his block. He's setting it, and then he looks back and he's like, "You coming through?" Oh, you're getting mugged. Okay. But either way, he did a good job on his block. Doesn't have to hold it very long. Ojulari, I believe, is who it is. Excuse me if it's not. He does the little shove at the end of the play because he's pissed. He's like, "Man, got a fucking linebacker blocking me." And, that's the end of the play. But either way, good play design here by Philly. Just Bobby Okereke played it perfectly, right? It was just a perfectly played play by Okereke, and also 93 and 41 as well. Just a little unfortunate, but VanSumeren did his job, and that is all I care about for the purposes of this video. And finally, since we're watching these snaps in chronological order, this is unfortunately the worst block of the day, but it happens. You can't win them all. So we're going to see VanSumeren come across here. He's going to engage with 51 once again. He's got to clear him out, set something up here. This play's dead in the water to begin with. Like, we do not have a whole lot of opportunity here from Kenny Gainwell. So VanSumeren's going to get his man. He's going to engage. Kenny Gainwell is going to try to bounce this to the outside. And just with the angle that Gainwell's taking, Ojulari, he's got his eyes in the backfield. He's able to recognize what's going on. And he sheds downward. No real way for VanSumeren to prevent this from happening as quick as it happens, unless he holds. And obviously, you don't want to hold. This game's over at this point. You're just trying to run clock. A holding makes the game longer. You're trying to go home and enjoy the rest of your day. So he just kind of gets beat there. And it's unfortunate, but I said this was the worst block of the day. There are a lot worse blocks that could have happened, right? Still does his job. Still engages well. Still takes a good path. It's just because of the angle the running back takes and the way the sport works with rules. Unfortunately, he is not able to sustain the block as long as guys that are maybe a little bit more experienced or a little stronger, a little better are able to. But hey, if this is your worst block of your first time playing fullback since your freshman year of college, then I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt, right? Because this isn't even bad. This isn't really a bad block. It just looks bad to the untrained eye. A lot of people, they don't respect fullbacks. They see a fullback getting beat in any way, and it's like, oh, this guy's a bum. Get him off the field. But in reality, there's nothing he can do here. It's just the unfortunate reality of the situation, But overall, hell of a game from VanSumeren. I was really, really impressed. I hope Philly sticks with it. I hope they keep using him. He opened up some big holes for Saquon. He did a really nice job in garbage time. I know that's not saying a whole lot, but, he did a really, really nice job. And I think Philly's run game can become even more dynamic with him on the field, which is saying a lot considering how good it typically is and has been this year with Saquon. And now to pad out the video a little bit because we can't just make this 5 clips and move on. We're going to take a look at some Alec Ingold and a little bit of Pat Ricard. Just give some flowers to some guys that I love watching. The initial plan was to do these two and Juszczyk. Juszczyk didn't get used a whole lot, like I said at the start of the video, so he's not going to be included, unfortunately. But this is a cool rep by Ingold. Block isn't crazy. They end up running away from him, but I love what happens here, so we'll take a look. So you see he's the lead blocker. He's going to end up double teaming here with Hill, who, if you watched my video last week, or 2 weeks ago, I think at this point, Hill I had some choice words for. So Ingold's coming to the rescue. He's going to help out, and this is going to allow Hill to get to the second level and take care of this linebacker. And then ideally, Raheem Mostert's going to be able to take this up the middle. So I'm wrong. I said it wasn't going to be a super impactful block. It is. It's a rather important block. But check this out. Boom. That helmet comes flying off. No helmet-to-helmet contact. That's just straight up a big fucking hit from a fullback. Pops 94 out here, sends him upfield. Mostert ends up running this ball. He ends up taking the crease, and he fires through. The way things play out is a little bit different than I initially explained it. But anyways, he still takes this gap and then fires out to the left. All while Alec Ingold is killing a man on the other side of the field. And Mostert does get chased down, but, good block by Ingold. I mainly just wanted to share this because it's not often you see a guy's helmet get popped off by a fullback. And when it happens, it is glorious. Just beautiful, beautiful stuff. And honestly, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, that's Aditamiwa Adabare. Respect to him for trying to keep going. Respect to him for trying to play the play out. But regardless, Ingold did a great job. He's there to help his running back up. All the good traditional fullback stuff that you'd expect from the vet. All right, here once again, a little bit of clear out. We've got Ingold offset to our left here. And this time they are going to run the ball right behind him. So he motions across. You see immediately you get a chip block here from Hill, who's going to move up to the second level and take care of this linebacker. So now Ingold's got to take care of my boy Laiatu Latu, one of my favorite players in the draft this year. He's going to do an awesome job. Gets low, hits him when he isn't expecting it, shoves him out of the way, allows Achane to get through, puts him in a position where he can't flip right around and tackle Achane there. And then Achane's going to fire on through there, get a really nice pickup. But, Ingold doing his thing as the lead blocker, taking care of the rookie. Just awesome, awesome stuff there. Not too complicated, but he did his job, he did his thing, and you gotta love to see that. All right, this is a really nice block here. So we've got Ingold offset. Goodness, that was a horrible circle. We've got Ingold offset here to our left. He's going to motion across the line right before the ball snapped. Then what's going to happen is we're going to get a little bit of a chip from this tackle, who's then going to move up to the second level and take care of the linebacker. And that's going to leave Ingold to clean up and be the primary blocker, the primary lead blocker here. So you see, tackle Armstead, he's going to chip and then move up and take care of 44. You send the tight end out to take care of 50, and then Ingold is going to attack the outside shoulder of this defensive end, which is going to allow Achane to slip right on through here. You'll see that's exactly what happens. Ingold does a great job of hitting that outside shoulder. Great first strike. Turns the defensive end away or facing towards the back, which is good because, you know, I say all the time, you want your back to the back as a fullback. And that's going to allow Ingold to reset his positioning. Now you see 54 is trying to slip around here a little bit. But at this point, Achane, or actually this might be Jalen Wright. Excuse me. I think it is Jalen Wright. Because he's got the thick helmet. And I think Jalen Wright is the back on the Dolphins who's wearing the Guardian cap right now. So my apologies. But either way, great block by Ingold. And you see the back here is going to... Oh, no, it was 28. Right? Was it 28? I'm blind, apparently. I can't. Let's see here. Yeah, that's 28. So that is Achane, excuse me. As he's going to go ahead and fire through there. And like I said, Ingold, you know, gets the primary lead block here. Back on actual topic. I apologize for the aside. But I like to be as accurate as possible when I'm talking about other players, even though sometimes I'm bad with numbers. Like in terms of remembering player numbers. Regardless, Ingold, as I said, hits the outside shoulder, turns his man around, and then sticks with him, pushes through the block, does a good job of keeping his running back safe, keeping him almost untouched. The defensive end does get a handout, but it's not enough to do anything. Ingold gets him turned all the way around, and you get a solid, like, 10, maybe 15-yard pickup. Really, really good work by Ingold. Watch this one more time to pad the time a little bit. Just beautiful, beautiful stuff. It's great work by Ingold. I know Dolphins fans are pretty upset with him right now because he fumbled last week and he got more touches than Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle combined. That's not his fault. Blame Mike McDaniel. The fumble might be his fault, but the touches thing, that's all Mike McDaniel. It's not like Ingold's on the sideline saying, "Coach, give me the football. I want the football all the time, always." That's not what he's doing. You can tell by the way he plays, he is not somebody that's super interested in getting the ball all the time. He likes hitting people. You know, I've watched this man run so many routes where halfway through he's like, yeah, I'm probably not getting this. I'm just going to stop. And that's okay because he makes up for it by running at full speed every single time he goes to block. But I can guarantee you that's a McDaniel thing. So yell at McDaniel. Don't throw Ingold under the bus. He does great things for your football team in the run game and in the pass game. You know, he had the big wheel route catch. This week. It was pretty cool. But regardless, he does his thing. It's not his fault. Blame the coach, not the fullback. That is my motto in life. And speaking of blame the coach and not the fullback, we're taking a look at Pat Ricard here. I say that because Ravens fans were getting real weird about him at the end of Greg Roman's tenure because Roman was trying to send him out on routes and expect him to be a pass catcher. And it's like, brother, you got a 300-pound fullback. He's not a pass catcher. He's not Kyle Juszczyk. You put him in there to move people. That is his job. You should let him do that more. But regardless, we've got Patrick Ricard lined up at tight end. We're going to get a designed Lamar run. And what's going to happen here is we're going to get a nice double team here. That should, on paper, open up a lane for Lamar to slip on through. And that is what's going to happen. Obviously, Ricard doing a great job on the double team here with Ronnie Stanley. And even more so, because what's about to happen is these two are going to drift. And that's going to allow Lamar to have a lane to break off to the right side for an even bigger gain. But unfortunately, Antoine Winfield is really good at football. He breaks this off. He's able to get Lamar behind his blockers. But you see, too, Ricard, he's fighting this all the way to the end. If you check out the top of the screen here, Ronnie Stanley's blown it off. Ricard's still going. He does not like Levante David here. And I think that's pretty freaking sweet, if you ask me. But just one more time, again, climb to the second level here. Double team. Open up the lane for your quarterback. put yourself in a really solid spot to get that, extra lane for Lamar, who sees it. But unfortunately, Antoine Winfield, again, is one of the best safeties in the sport. I would say second only to the safety that wears Baltimore's uniform, being Kyle Hamilton, obviously. And because of that, Lamar isn't able to capitalize as much as he probably could have had, that not been played perfectly. But regardless, good block. And I wanted to throw that in there because I love Ricard fighting at the end. And it's always fun to see a fullback and a lineman double team somebody where it's kind of hard to tell who the fullback and who the lineman is. And finally, our biggest run of the day, we've got Ricard set offset to the left here. And he's going to be the lead blocker for Derrick Henry on his big old rumble and tumbling 81-yard takeoff. So you see here, Ricard's going to be responsible for this defensive back who's coming downhill. He's going to try to slip the block, and Ricard's going to do a good job of not letting him do that. That's going to allow King Henry to fire on through, and he's going to have nothing but green grass in front of him. So you see, instead of letting him fire underneath, Ricard gets on top of him, collapses down, and that gives Henry the lane he needs. He's gone. Great job finishing the block by Ricard, and Henry gets his 81-yard run. Would have loved to see this be a touchdown, but, the King, he's still on the older side, things happen. But really good job there not letting a quicker player slip a block. You see this far too often. And Ricard falls on top of him, finishes that block, and he's able to get up and look behind him. He's like, oh, fuck, Derrick's doing it again. Okay. And he gets a massive, massive run, thanks to a really solid block by pretty much everyone up front. But for the purposes of this video, I don't give a fuck about anyone not named Patrick Ricard. Also, I know I was singing the praises of Antoine Winfield. He over pursues here, and then watch his reaction to Derrick Henry running by him. It's quite funny. That's quite funny. I didn't notice that the first time I watched this round. Like, obviously, I noticed Henry making someone miss, but I didn't realize it was Winfield, and I didn't realize Winfield goes into full, oh, good heavens mode there, as Henry gets his big ol' run, thanks to a big ol' block by a big ol' fullback. But anyways, folks, that is going to do it for Fullback Friday this week. I hope you all enjoyed. I do have to say, unfortunately, in the process of recording this video, my Chicago Bears cut arguably my favorite player in the league, Mr. Kari Blasingame. He hasn't gotten a whole lot of PT lately, and it breaks my heart to have to report this news on a Fullback Friday. I didn't have a whole lot of time to throw something together for today for Kari, but just know next week, Fullback Friday, the predetermined upload will be a Kari Blasingame film analysis. If he gets signed by then we'll frame it as, hey, look, insert team here, this is what you're getting out of this guy. If he hasn't gotten signed by then it'll be, hey, look, NFL, this guy's really good, go give him a contract type of thing. But regardless, I've been trying to find an excuse to talk about Kari forever, and now it's too little too late. I really wanted to talk about him while he was a Bear. We're still going to be taking a look at his Bears blocking highlights, obviously. Or his Bears blocking film, not really highlights, although I would consider them highlights. They're all 22. It's a little bit different, but regardless, I'm very much looking forward to making that, even if the circumstances are far from ideal. And then next week as well, I'll get sappy and I'll do a thank you speech and things like that. But regardless, next week, it's going to be fun and somber at the same time. You definitely won't want to miss that video, and you won't want to miss any other upload here on the MillerFootball channel if you enjoyed what you saw here today. So if that's the case, definitely make sure to subscribe down below, and also make sure to leave me a like. It helps out the channel a ton, shows your support, shows you care, and I really appreciate it. And also make sure to comment down below, tell me what you think about the Eagles finally using a fullback. That's exciting. It's sad to see a fullback lose his job, but on the bright side, a new fullback has been born. The numbers are staying even though I think Kari will definitely get a job somewhere before the end of the season, but I digress. I hope you all enjoyed. And to everyone out there watching, I hope you all have a wonderful day, evening, night, afternoon, whatever time of day it is for you. I hope you enjoy it because you're all wonderful people and you truly do deserve it.
Had a chance on the throwback. This was an ill-advised throw. What an unbelievable catch by Cole Kmet. And he cups it too. No movement when he hits the ground, tucked up against his shoulder. Wow. Using that